Hopefully, I could be heard this time. What I was talking about is the battle of the sexes. And the reason why there's such a battle that's going on right now is because we don't see that everybody that comes into our life mirrors us. We are a reflection of everybody and situation that comes into our minds. It's a reflection of our thoughts, or it's a reflection of our actions. You always reap what you sow. But we tend to have a problem when, I guess the biggest problem that we have right now is the control issue. The biggest control issues that we have between male and female is the not willing to share power. Like, okay, this past few weeks I've been posting like controversial topics and different things just to see, like, to question the psyche of everybody that's in my circumference and what they thought about certain topics and things that people don't generally want to discuss. And one of the biggest things that we've encountered this week is the discovery of male and female roles in this society, and the reason why everything has gotten so jumbled up. The reason why everything is jumbled up the way it is because we have to come to the consciousness of knowing that, and there are masculine and feminine properties in men, there are masculine and feminine properties in women. The reason why that is being is because we are a divine reflection of one another. When you look at people and you see everything that you see is a reflection of your thoughts. Like, for instance, I'm gonna use myself for example. Back in the 90s, when that whole motto, all men are dogs, was out, I used to say that so readily. All men are dogs. They ain't nothing, da 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 da. Even though that wasn't a reflection of what was in my life, because they were very exemplary men in my life. But that mentality that was given to me by society at large, I embraced it. And guess what? Started living it. So guess what? The people that started showing up in my life were dogs, because that's what I felt. So once we change our mindset, we can start seeing the world for what it truly is. The battle of sexes is all about learning how to come into one's own power, raising your self-esteem, and being able to share it for the common good. We do a lot of self-motivated things, but we need to take more time, and this is a conversation I had with my sons yesterday. We need to take more time talking about things that are more, that benefit the whole, not just ourselves. Like, yeah, I'm going to benefit from this, but is everybody in my circumference going to benefit at the same time? Like, you should do things in a way that harms none and benefits the whole, you know? And I think as a society, that's what we're growing to. We're coming to this realization, like, all of the stuff that you see going on right now, a lot of stuff is fake. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the stories we see going on is fake. And the reason why they have to do that is because the collective consciousness of the world is raising. And people are not responding to, like, lower level ego and things of that nature. People are trying to find a balance in life. And we're all, right now, we're all going through, like, this karmic cycle. And people are reaping what they sown from their actions, because that's the one thing that is constant. So that's why you got to be careful of the seeds you plant every day, because and your daily goal should be to be better person the next day than you was the previous day. That's my goal. Like, I'm striving to be a better wife, mother, servant to society, you know, and it took a lot of self-reflection for me to get to this point. Like, in the past 10 weeks, I've grown a lot in my life. Like, I've gone through situations that totally shook everything in my life, and for me to really grasp what was going on. I can't even say 10 weeks. I say for the last year of my life. And part of it was me finding my happy within myself. If you can't be happy with yourself, you can't be happy with anybody, because you'll only attract other people that are not happy with themselves. So as you grow, you'll start seeing and meeting more people that appreciate you as much as you appreciate you. But if you don't appreciate you, that's going to be reflected around you and everywhere you go, because people will start acting like you're not somebody that's not to be appreciated. So If you ever feel like you're in that stage in life, you need to take a step back, take a breather, and recharge, you know. And so, like, it took a lot of different things for me to recharge from the last bunch of tumultuous stuff that was going on in my life. But what the biggest thing I did was cut off the TV and cut off the radio. And I got, no, you can't find balance from murder or killing anyone else, Nicole, in any shape, form. If you're bringing harm to something, there's no balance in that. There's no, I can't see how that could be any type of balance within that. No, I don't find balance in murder or killing someone else. I guess I go more like with the Yoruba principles. Like, for example, they don't even have jails. If someone does something wrong, they'll put them in the center of a circle, and then they'll start saying positive things about that person and reminding them of all of the goodness that they have. And that reminded me of a YouTube I saw a few months back where they was talking about how the properties of water, the molecules in water changes depending on the vibration of words that are used around it. So if that can happen to a cup of water, what do you think happens to us when we're 80% water? If you're constantly downing somebody, saying something negative to them, guess what? They're going to be negative. And that's what you see in society. If you turn on the radio, how many positive messages can you find about anybody? You know, women, men, or anybody, let alone. None. It's very, very few. Like, you don't really, you got, you know, we still have, like, the Anthony Hamiltons left. But that's even rare, you know, like, but back in the day when you listen to music, it talked about celebrating women and celebrating love and everything like that. And then the mindset of the people was different. They were on a higher vibrational level, and the way they interacted with each other is different. Nowadays, men and women have no respect for one another, and that is because of all of these things that are put to us in the media and everything else that is lowering our self-esteem. So when your self-esteem is lowered, you try to put other people down to try to raise your self-esteem. And that's what's going on right now when you see it with men and women. We're both, on both sides, messed up in the game. You know, like, we were both bamboozled. We were both thrust into society that was already made up of something that didn't even work. And it wasn't even truth. It was a false front. And we had to survive within that society. And then that society, like, okay, I guess you could basically break it down as when you've been oppressed so long, you start taking on the roles of the oppressor. So once that has been established that you're doing that, you have to stop. Like, well, at first I started thinking about, you know, like how I started dealing with color. And I saw how, like, oh, Caucasians act this way towards people of color, this, that, and the third. What is this about? Then I started seeing, oh, the black man acts the same way towards his woman. What is this all about? Everybody's going through the same thing, but no one's talking about what the real root of the problem is. The root of the problem is self-esteem. Everybody's going through a self-esteem issue. When you go into a self-esteem issue, you're going to try to put other people down with God complexes and raise yourself up, you know, and it doesn't work that way. That is not how society is made. And when you move like that and you try to say that that's the truth, and you got other people around that see the truth for what it really is, it's going to fall apart because it's a lie. You cannot build a society, a relationship, any type of partnership, business, personal, whatever, based on lies. So now when the truth starts coming out, that's when you start seeing people disengage and things start falling apart in relationships. Because it's like, when I was coming up, I got knowledge of my brothers, but it took a longer time for me to get knowledge of myself. You know, and knowing who you are, like I said, it takes turning off the TV. It takes cutting out that outside chatter of what other people say who you are and things like that. And for you to just see that for yourself. Who are you? If you take off all the masks, everything else that people in society has placed on you, who are you at the end of the day? When you have that honest dialogue with yourself, and then you start standing in that truth, you'll start seeing the difference. And I had to do that. Like, I had to cut off everybody. So if anybody feels slighted, that I have not been in their life, or that they felt like I've been shady, or no, I'm a misery hates company person. So as I am growing, I will distance myself because I don't want to infect anybody else with anything that I'm dealing with. And then once I emerge from my chrysalis and become a butterfly, then you'll hear from me. And then I can share with you my growth process and all of the things that I went through. So I decided daily I'm going to do that. I'm going to share with you the things that I have learned. I posted 2 videos on my wall that really helps out with like dealing with anger, dealing with betrayal, dealing with depression, and all of those different topics that I saw popping up on my friends' walls and different things like that. But that's the answer. And if you got anything else to add on, or anything that you want to discuss on these topics daily, just inbox me, and I will bring it to the forefront. But we need to start having dialogue about these issues, personal issues, because until we fix our person, we cannot do anything for this planet. Nothing. You got to help yourself first. So with that, I am telling you that I'm doing what I promised my nation to do, that I would do. And that is by teaching through my experiences of what I've gone through. So the next person doesn't have to go through so much to get that. See, we missed that in our last generation. Crack ruined that for us. That crack era took away our elders. Why? Because we couldn't even look at our elders as elders no more. We didn't even have respect for them. Even though even to this day they still could be respected, because especially the ones that went through it and came out and have that wisdom of the ages from it, but we didn't see it like that. So that whole generation kind of got cut off from us, and we was like like the Lord of the Flies. We were like raising ourselves. But in doing that, it gave me a greater sense of confidence, a self-esteem. Lets me know, like I see things so differently, because I didn't have so much influence coming from other people that didn't know what was going on, and most of my experience came from living it out and seeing the results. See, that's what works for me. When I could see, when you could show and prove the results to me, I'm with you. I'm not for all that lip professing stuff. People that talk a good game, but when they're not living out nothing they say, that's straight hypocrisy. If you can't live out what you're telling me, and I can't live out what you're telling me, it's false. So that's how I came into the real knowledge of self. Once I found out, once I started living out certain truths that I have discovered, and I saw that they work for me, then I knew that was the truth, and then I can apply it to my life. But all the other stuff that people was just talking, and this, that, and third, but I don't see that anywhere in my society, guess what? That's false. I'm not going for it. Knowledge of self comes from knowing you and knowing those around you and observing nature around you. Anything else, stuff you get from a book, all that other stuff is man-made. Man had his hand in it. I'm not feeling it. I want to know stuff that is tried and true. Even the scientific method is backwards that they taught us in school. How are you going to come up with a theory and try to find ways to prove that? That's not how you do science. Science is all about observing what's already there and coming up with coming up with a conclusion based on your observation, not the other way around. Everything they taught us in the society was backwards, and we know it. Our generation know it, and next generation know it. So they really need to stop with all this other stuff, because we're not buying it no more. And it's getting tiring. It's getting bored. I'm getting so frustrated with the fake news stories and all this other stuff that's going on. Like, can we evolve? Like, we have HD TV now. We're not fooled. You're not fooling us. We can rewind, fast forward, zoom in. Like, can you stop lying to us right now? Because whether you stop lying to us or not, we still going to find the truth. And we're still going to live the truth, because it's going to be channeled to us. And it's not going to be channeled from any TV station or anything like that. When you cut off that TV, that's when you'll start seeing what's really going down. All right, well, I'll say peace. I might have come back on later. Just depends on the questions that come in the inbox. But if not, I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.